Hello everyone, welcome to the Krabby Crafter tutorial for the Spellbinders Heart Hands card kit. This is Pastor Ian. Hope you guys are ready to learn a few things and get excited about making some cards. As you can see, I've got the box opened up. We're going through the items there. Of course, each kit comes with an idea card. You've got some 3D embellishment pieces. You've got your stamp set, which this is a really nice stamp set. With a little oval, decorative oval, and some different sayings. And so we're going to go ahead and open it up, take a look, see what we've got in here. As always, the Spellbinder kits come with a load of ephemera, lots of paper pieces, and so you can just have so much fun with that. This one also came with this month with some sequins. So we're going to be able to do a few decorative things with those. We may or may not use those. We'll see. I'm not a big sequin person, but we'll see. Of course, as always, it comes with a roll of double-sided tape and then also some foam squares, just a little sheet of foam squares to help give you some dimension to your projects. As always, it comes with 10 cards and 10 envelopes, and we're going to try and use all of those. Not sure how much we'll use this month. I think this month maybe 7 cards, 9 cards. We'll see. This is an interesting little pack that comes with. It comes with a bunch of like little note cards. Looks like tags actually. So not sure how we're going to use these yet. Actually, I think we're going to wind up using those just as pieces on the fronts of cards and different things. We may even try and make a bookmark out of one of those. So we'll see. But these are the tags that came in that pack. So just looking through those, really nice. It's one of the things I love about Spellbinders. You get plenty of paper pieces come with it. So if you're looking to get started with crafting and you want a good kit that helps you get started, pretty much has everything you need to make cards with, Spellbinders kit's going to be one of them. As always, you're going to need some glue, possibly if you want to use a glue runner or something else, but it does come with foams, the foam squares, and the double-sided tape, as you can see there. So you'll be able to make quite a few cards just with everything they have. It doesn't come with any ink, so if you use the stamps, you will need to have an ink pad. You will need to have access to some different colors inks, or even just your basic black ink, and some stamping equipment, stamping tools. You will need a die cutting machine if you're going to use the dies. You can actually make cards with this kit without even using the dies, but the dies each month are usually just really nice dies. Comes with little letter stickers this month as well. Actually, no, we're not going to use those on any of these cards. And then here's the paper kit. Now, when I get the Spellbinders kit, one of the things I like to do is, first thing I do is I open it up, take a look at what's inside, and I go ahead and pull out. There's 2 sheets of, 2 copies of each one in there, 2 copies of 20 different designs. So I go ahead and pull out the top sheet. Or the first row of sheets till I get down to where it duplicates, and I set that aside. So I will always have that. If I see a card that, say maybe I want to make 2 cards of the same card, then I can go back and use the same paper pieces and duplicate a card, depending on the ephemera that's used to go with it, or the stamp, or how we want to do that. But I usually just go ahead and pull out the first sets of sheets until we get down to the double. If you've seen my videos before, you know one of the things I love about Spellbinders is it's not double-sided paper. The back of each sheet is just white. It's just white. There's the dies. We'll set those aside for just a few minutes. And this is just a really pretty set. A little floral, very colorful. There's enough in here to make some masculine cards if you wanted to, so make some nice things, but it does have a little bit more of a floral feel to it with the heart hand, a little more of a feminine touch with the heart hands, and then you can see the cameo silhouette that came in the stamps there, which we saw earlier. So it's just a really nice paper set so far. So we're just pulling all the papers out, getting everything out to get the first set ready to go until we get back down to where the paper repeats itself, and then we'll be done. So I think we got one more here that we pull out. 2 more, a couple more. As I said, you get 2 of each sheet, and there's 20 different designs. You get 40 pages in each one, and you can see me pulling out the first 20 and just running out of room to lay them all down. And so we've got that, and then we're going to pull this one out, and that takes us back to, oh no, this one's got some foil on it. Yeah, that was the first piece, so we can set that aside now. All right, so there we go. There's all our paper pieces ready to go to start making cards with. So we pull those out so we can see what we got, and then we're just going to stack all those together, and we'll sort through them later. So once we get all those out of the way, then we can go ahead and grab the card stock that comes with our Spellbinders kit. Toss out the paper there. We'll leave the box there for now, but this is the card stock that comes with each kit. Always comes some beautiful card stock. Almost every month seems like you get that beautiful foil gold sheet, which makes for great embellishment, especially if you're going to use any of the dyes and backgrounds. You can really have some fun with that. So you get your white cardstock. It's got a nice light blue and some pink, some cream, some coral, just a shade of a lighter shade of green there, and then black. So you get your nice, good, high quality cardstock each month with your Spellbinders card kit. And I do love that gold foil that comes each month. All right, so I went ahead and cleared up a little bit, put the paper back in the box there, and grabbed our little template to look at for our sample card this month. You see the little heart hands we're going to make there. The nice little card on the front. We actually make this card. We changed it a little bit. I didn't like a couple of the sentiments that were on there, so when we do ours, we're going to change the sentiments up, but we still go with the same basic design. So again, when you're getting this information, when you get that card, and if you go to the Spellbinders website, spellbinderspaperarts.com, you're going to find a lot of other card ideas from other crafters and other designers like myself, but more professional designers who actually help and put those out with Spellbinders each month. But in the meantime, just remember when you're making cards, you want to have the freedom to make your own card and have fun with it. You see an idea you like, you want to change it a little bit, go ahead and do it. So these are the hands dies that we're going to use. There's actually two sets. It's actually a layered die set. The first set you're going to cut out of black. The next one you're going to cut out of the cream, kind of the flesh tone cardstock. And then you got two of those beautiful little decorative flourishes. And then this is the word die. See, it's the shadow die. You're actually going to use it with the one that goes inside there. So you're going to use that. You're going to use that stamp sentiment. You can either just stamp that and then die cut it out, or you can actually use some. You can emboss. I'll get my brain working in a minute. You can actually emboss and do that. So there's the stamps and there's the dies that comes with this month's kit. So we're going to go ahead and get everything together and get ready for you, and we'll walk you through the process of what we do to get ready to start making some cards. And as always, I hope you enjoy and hope you're encouraged to make something new. All right, so I went ahead and took some of the black cardstock, put some double-sided adhesive sheet on the back of it. It's going to make it a lot easier when we cut out these little flourishes. There are two flourishes that came in the kit, and they're a little bit different. So if you'll see that they look the same here on high speed, but they're actually a little bit different. And we actually need 8 of those, because 2 of those is going to make the side of your frame that we're going to try and use in following one of the card examples. So we got 2 of them. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out 8 of those. And it's going to make it a whole lot easier with that double-sided tape. Again, as always, the double-sided backing. If you don't have adhesive sheets, the double-sided adhesive sheets, you're going to have to use a fine-tipped glue applicator, and it can just get a little bit annoying. So you want to try and use those adhesive backs. So you have 2 sets of hands. This set here is we've already cut out 1 pair. Cutting out another pair now is I'm going to make 2 sets of the hands. And this is the sort of the flesh-colored paper. And you want to notice that there's a tiny little piece in there. If you'll notice when we pull it out, you can look and see that when you do pop this out, there's the little thumb, the little tiny finger, the index, or not the index finger, but the little finger at the very top there. Don't lose those 2 little pieces. You will need those. And this is actually going to layer over the other set. It's going to layer over the black set. So we're going to go ahead and cut those out. And again, don't lose those top pieces if you're using this particular set. Anytime you get a set like this, always look at what comes off the die, out of the paper, what comes through the die, and make sure you don't think, oh, it's just a little scrap piece. Nope, it's going to be your fingertip. So we're going to go ahead and pull those out and get those ready to go. And then we're going to go ahead and load up some black paper and cut out the base part that it's going to layer over. You can see here we've already cut 1 set out, and when you layer it over like that, that's where that other little piece is going to go. So just make sure if you're using this particular set, don't lose that piece. And just so you can see what it looks like, we're going to go ahead and get the black base together. We're going to go ahead and run that through for us and cut that out. And then once those are done, they'll be ready to layer our heart hands together. And then we'll start working on some other card pieces as well. And there they are. So the next thing I wanted to do is go ahead and get some embossing ink and take one of the stamps that says "You are the best," and we actually have the die cut that goes with it. We'll show that in a minute. And so we're going to go ahead and stamp up several of those on some black cardstock and put some gold glitter embossing powder on it. I'm not the best embosser. We're working on it. We're getting there, and you will too. I put some anti-static powder on the cardstock. In hindsight, I won't do that again with the black cardstock because it just, at least not that particular tool that I used, a little too much powder came off. And it will show up later on the cards. So we got the card ready, got several of them on there, and we're going to go ahead and take our heat embossing tool, and we're going to go ahead and emboss that, and you can see it. You can see a little bit on the video there where it's actually melting and doing what it's supposed to do. And I actually gave it too much heat. I messed a couple of these up, couldn't use them. If you leave it on too long, the embossing ink will sort of run together, and so I lost some of the clarity on it and wasn't really happy about that. But you can still see there that it does read pretty well. Then we're going to go ahead and grab our die cutting machine, and we're just going to take a little time to cut each one of those out. We've got 7 of them there, and so we're going to go ahead and cut those out. And we just take the die that came with the set and you put it over it. And not every month, I don't know from memory, but most of the time they do have a word die that you're going to be able to use in this fashion. So we're going to go ahead and cut all those out and get those ready, and then we'll move on to the next phase. All right, so wanted to take a moment and show you the chaos that is my workspace. I don't know how yours looks, but this is how mine looks, with all the paper spread out, all of my paper pieces, my ephemera cut out, all the different things, or the ephemera that's already cut out and ready to go. See up to the right there, we've got the different pieces sorted, a few extra pieces we left in the box. Tried to group them by color and style so that we can start assembling our cards. And you see up on the left there, you can see the sentiments that we die cut out. And so this is what my workspace looks like. Obviously not a lot of room to work here. We've got some cardstock that we didn't use or haven't used yet. We may use it down the road. But I want you to understand that when you're working, you don't have to have this perfectly organized workspace. You might be working on a very small table, and you just have to use what works for you. So what I'm just doing is just trying to lay everything out where I can kind of see it. And then I'm going to start putting my cards together. I'm going to start taking, I've got the paper already grouped by colors, and some of the ephemera, like we said, grouped together. Got our tools laid out and ready to go. So just trying to show you that if you're what you think is a messy crafter, or you think, oh my goodness, how does anybody work with this space? How am I going to do this? Very easily, actually, if this works for you. If it doesn't work for you, and if you're one of those people with a little OCD and this video is driving you crazy right now, I apologize. But that's how I work the best. So I just wanted to show you that. Got my tags all separated here. And we're going to take these tags and like I said, we're going to make a bookmark out of them and then use them for some paper piecing. But this is all laid out and ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get the cards organized, get everything where I want it to be. And then we'll come back to you and we'll put some cards together. All right, so I've got my cards designed and laid out and set at various places on the table. This is the first card we're working on, and we're using some of the paper pieces there, including one of the silhouettes. There's actually a stamp in the kit, so if you wanted to stamp, you could stamp in all black ink and then fussy cut that out. But it did come with some pieces pre-cut, so it made it a little easier, including that little wreath piece there. There's also a die for that and a stamp for that. So I'm going to go ahead and take that little wreath piece, and I'm going to use one of the stamps to put one of the sentiments on there. And using my stamping platform, because there's more words on this, I wanted to line it up just right, and I wanted to make sure I had enough ink on there for the first time I stamped it. If I didn't like the way it looked, I could put a little more ink on it, which I actually wind up doing to get a good solid imprint. And then once we get that printed the way we want it, go ahead and pull that off, and that's ready to go. Then we pull our card back down and we start working on it. And we're actually going to put that together. You see I've got some pieces there. I'm actually going to wind up changing it a little bit. You see the double butterflies. I was going to stack them and decided not to do it. I did take 2 of the You Are the Best there, and I actually glued 2 of them together just to give myself a little depth. It didn't quite like the way it was looking. I was going to glue that on. I said, you know, let me wait until that ink is fully dried. So we're going to go ahead and move down and work on this next card. And this card we're working on, you see the 8 pieces there that we cut earlier. So we're going to take those and we're going to go ahead and peel the stickers off the back of each one. I've got them broken down into the 2 sets of 4. And then this is pretty much just a matter of just eyeballing it. You just want to go ahead and take off the paper backing. Going to lay 2 pieces over each other and kind of intertwine it a little bit. And once I get them together the way I want them, then we can put them on the paper. And so it's just a matter of doing that 3 more times. This is so much easier with the double-sided or the adhesive paper, the double-sided paper that comes doesn't come with the kit. We had to put that on ourselves. So if you didn't have that, then you would have to use a fine tip applicator to get this put down. But if you do have the adhesive sheets, and I encourage you, if you're going to be making cards and especially working with intricate dies like this, go ahead and invest in some of that adhesive paper. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put all 4 of these down, and we're just trying to do it. In hindsight, I might have twisted that one on the left a little bit, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect. One of the things I like about this, instead of having one solid die cut square piece, not only can you make this frame like this, but you can actually line those up in several sprigs, 8, 9, 10 of them across the bottom, and kind of make like a little field of grass or something. There's a lot of different ways that you can use it by having just the 2 different dies. So there is that advantage. What we're actually making here is we're following one of the examples that came with the card kit. So we're going to modify it just a little bit, still using the same paper and the same idea. Built a frame around there, and then we're going to go grab one of the little doll figures, the little girl figure. We're going to put her on there. We already had everything sorted and laid out, so at this point we're just grabbing stuff and gluing it on. And what we're doing right here is I didn't realize that I hadn't trimmed off quite enough to give myself a border all the way around, an even border. So I just trimmed off that bottom piece back there. Put a little glue in the corner to make that piece that was coming up stay down. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to pull off that chipboard doll, and we're going to put her right on there just like the example showed us to do. So when you're making a card, when you get a card kit like this and you have those cards, you kind of have to just put your pieces together ahead of time. Know where you're going, know what you're trying to do. I like to lay all my cards out. I'll literally take an hour, 2 hours, and just go in my mind, put all these cards, and get 8, 9, 10 cards laid aside and ready to go. And it's just a matter of sitting down and gluing them. And the great thing about that is too, you're not sitting down. I'm going to make a card. All right, now how am I going to design my next card? All right, let me put it together. All right, now let me design another card. Let me put it together. No, you actually have it already ready to go, and then you just make simple adjustments as you're going. On this one, we put some of the foam dots on the back, and we got a little raised embellishment there. One of the ones that came with the kit and the ephemera. And then I actually changed the wording. I liked this. I liked the inspire and create. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to put on there, how I want to do it. And then when it's all said and done, I said, you know what? It's going to leave it the way it is. And I think that we're going to call this card finished. And then I said, nope, no, we're not. Let me try these. So you can see here that I'm actually experimenting and trying to decide what I think looks best on the card. There's no right way or no wrong way. It's your card. And so we wound up going with a couple of very different sentiments. Use my little fine tip glue there, my little tweezers. And it basically says this moment, and then at the bottom, she shines. And so that is actually going to finish up that card. So for the next card, I kind of went with a little bit of a literary theme. It seems like this month's card kit had a lot in it that emphasized learning, knowledge, shining, wisdom, heart, hands, loving, learning, growing, and I just really liked it. Explore, adventure. And so on this one, I went with the theme, and one of the tags, if you can see it down on the right there, which says, she writes poetry. So I decided to go with kind of a writer's theme here, and we're using the borrower's card. We're putting some color scheme on there with the gold foil and the brown, just to kind of feels like a library, just feels like a bookish card. So it'd be a good card you could send to someone who maybe does like to write, or even somebody who likes to read. And so this next card that we're working on right here just kind of tried to follow that theme. So you can see I took a couple pieces of the cardstock, trimmed it down to fit on the top of the card, used one of those tags that came in the kit, the borrower's card, put it on there, putting the little tag on top of that says, we all have a story. I just thought that was kind of cute. Instead of filling out the information on the borrower's card like you would in a library, talking about the book and everything, I just put down, we all have a story. And then we're going to put a little frame here. And if you guys know me, I like to use frames. I like to use sort of interactive elements. Sometimes I'll put a frame down and then I'll glue a piece in and a piece that will slide in and out. But in this instance, I'm actually going to go ahead and glue this piece down to the frame just to make sure that it stays there. But I do have it kind of coming out of the frame. That's one of the things I like to do on my cards, just to kind of get a little quirky. Don't always put things on straight either. Sometimes we'll put it on a little bit of an angle, just to make the eye think a little bit, so you can see the frame is crooked but the book is coming straight out there. So just try to get a little whimsical with that. And then we're going to put a little note packet on there. What's the mystery? What's the secret? Are we sending something to somebody? No, let's go with this little tag, another little writer's note. So just trying to figure out what would best fit on there. And in the end, we just kind of stayed with that book theme to try and finish up this card. And so you can see I'm adding some tags. I'm going to go ahead and put this, and you see I'm crisscrossing it. Where do I want to put it? Do I want to put it on the bottom, the corner? I want my cards to look full, but I don't want them to be overloaded. And so you have to get to that point where you go, yep, that's it. That card's done. And that card was done. So since that card is done, we're going to move back to this card. That ink's had plenty of time to dry. I could have dried it, but if I'm working on cards, why take the time to put it dry and dry it and finish a card when I can move on to the next card, just come back to this one. You do what works for you. You follow what works best for you. If you're a little OCD, if you're a little bit chaotic, you can't stand looking up and going, oh, I haven't finished that card. Well, then you may just have to finish a card. And what I would encourage you to do is just do one card. Sit down, get everything together for one card, make the one card, walk away. But again, if you're that kind of person, you're probably not going to have a work area that looks like a desktop or a work area that looks like mine. I'm trying to decide here if I wanted to go with a double, sort of raise one on top of the other and kind of go with that 3D look, use the two different moths or butterflies. And in the end, I decided just to use the two butterflies that were the same, just the duplicated ones, and just kind of put them on two different parts on the card. And that first card that we were working on will be just about done. We're going to peel off that double-sided tape, put "You Are the Best," and that card is done. Or maybe it's not done. I forgot to put it on. I forgot to put it onto the actual card. The front was finished. We have to adhere it to our card base. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Got a little overflow with some glue on there, so we cleaned that up and cleaned it off the card, cleaned it off the table, used a little glue eraser to get that off the table. And then we're going to put a little bit of the powder on the inside of the card to remove some of that stickiness where it got in the glue. And now that card is done. All right, and so we move on to card number 4. And just a couple more tips, a couple more ideas before we put some music on the video and just let the rest of these cards play as we make these final cards. You see, one of the things I like to do here is take two different pieces of cardstock and trim them, sort of coordinating each other. And there we use that brown checkered pattern with the other spotted pattern. And just glue those onto my card base and then trim away the excess. So I like that. Sometimes I'll do it in even 2 1/4, 2 1/4. Other times I'll do 3 2 inches. Just depends, 2 inches, 1 inch. Just depends if I want it more symmetrical or not. And then I decided to go a little whimsical. One of the things I like to do is I don't like to put things straight on a card. So we're going to put this tag on here a little bit sideways. Of course, some edges are going to stick over, so we're going to trim those off. And then we're going to put the rest of our pieces on there. So we're going to go ahead and just sort of take a break from talking. We'll put some more music on as always, and you can watch and fast forward if you need to. These videos are sped up, obviously, and hopefully you'll get some good ideas, not just with this particular card kit, but as always. Again, one of the things I like about Spellbinders, they do have all of these beautiful pieces of paper that come with the kit, so you can just really get creative. A lot of times you're only going to be able to make one particular card unless you have more than one kit. But other than that, there's just so much that you can do with a Spellbinders kit. So just remember that. Remember the taking two pieces of cardstock and gluing them over your card base. Remember to put your pieces on maybe at an angle, a little bit of a creative design. Don't be afraid to trim things off. So with that in mind, we're just going to go ahead and let the video run, and hope you enjoy, and happy crafting. All right, so just as we finish up this card, as you can see there, we decided to put the bookmark in with this card. Just going to take a piece of ribbon and run that through there and tie that off. This particular card kit came with all of these tags, and I just thought, you know, what creative way could I use it? What am I going to do with all these tags? What do I use them for? So we made the card front, and as I looked at the card front, and I just said, this looks like a library. It just looks like a book. And then we had that one tag, and I thought, well, let's make a bookmark. And so I just thought that fit well, and so that finished up that card. As we move on to card number 8, one of the things I started looking at a couple different cards here. We're running out of envelopes, just trying to decide what I want to do. One of the things I like to do is I like to layer pieces. You've noticed this. One of the things I like to do is layer pieces out of a frame. Use that frame and let the pieces kind of fall out of it. So what I'm doing is I'm just experimenting here. At this point, I don't even know what that final card is going to look like. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this card. I'm just moving pieces around to see what I like and what I don't like. Part of card making is not sitting down with a very specific plan. And so I'm going to make this card. You might start making that card and not even halfway through, not like the colors, not like the style. So I'm just looking, what do I want to do here? Do I want to put the bird cage there, and I put the owl on it, and I thought, well, it just kind of looks like a bird, and I thought, well, it's just kind of strange outside of the cage, and so then I thought, well, let me cut a little hole in that, and I said, what if I stick the bird in there? And so I'm just experimenting with things. When you're making cards, just kind of let your mind wander. And sometimes your creative juices are just going to really start flowing, and then other times you're going to just be stumped. It's okay just to get up and walk away. Just get up and walk away. Just leave everything on the table. Come back later when you can come at it fresh. But don't be afraid to change things as you go. And just know that once you glue it down, that's it. So it looks like on this piece we did decide ultimately to kind of go with the cage and the bird. I know we're going to go with the frame. And this is important. When you glue the frame down, you don't want to put glue on that bottom part because you're going to put your flowers in there. You don't want to mess that up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put the front piece on. Almost got a little carried away there and forgot to put my card front onto my card base. And so then I did decide to go ahead and put the little bird cage with the owl sort of tucked in there on that as well. And then we're just going to fill in the flowers. So that in mind, we're going to go ahead and a little more music, work on the last little bit of cards. We're almost done. Hope that you're being encouraged. Hope you're learning something. And we'll be right back. All right, and the Stay Wild card is almost finished. That is our last card. And so I hope that watching this video, you've gotten some ideas. Maybe got your creative juices flowing. Maybe if you have this kit, you want to go out and make a similar card. But again, feel free to put your own spin on it, as always. So as we bring things to a close, we're just going to take a look at the cards that we did have completed. We're going to lay them out for you. And there's one we actually didn't finish. We're going to go back and do that one later. But here's card number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so on and so forth. So here are the cards we made with this kit and could make. And by the way, there's enough to make a whole lot more. So there you have it. Once again, from the Krabby Crafter, remember that the ability to create is a gift from God. So happy crafting. And until next time, this is the Krabby Crafter. See you soon.